So this is a healing about a woman in her 40s, a very successful real estate agent. And she came to me complaining of very, very severe neck and shoulder pain. So when I went in for the healing, it was all on the right side, by the way. And when I went in for the healing, I immediately saw that her spirit body was at the neck area bulging out. Now, I've seen goiters before, physical goiters on people. I think I might have had a few clients over the years that have had physical goiters. You know, it bulges out. This, of course, had not yet manifested on the physical, and it wasn't happening all the time. It just happened when my client got angry and frustrated, tense, stressed out. And what I know about my client is that the way she does real estate is from the heart, and tries to be really, really laid back and authentic, really caring about the home shoppers, really wanting the best fit for them and not trying to sell them something that's not perfect for them. So my client needs to stay, in a very upbeat, positive mode, even if people are giving her a hard time, or they're hemming and hawing about this or that, criticizing this and that about the house she's showing them. But my client, of course, can't really say anything. So she keeps the front of her throat chakra sealed. She's got to contain that energy, but and stay positive, stay in the heart. So, but that energy has to go somewhere. And for this particular client, that frustration, and all the anxiety that goes with, not making a sale, she kept on her right shoulder and neck. And occasionally I just watched it. It was like a cycle. She'd be okay for a little while, schmoozing with the potential home buyers. And while she was schmoozing, because I was seeing this in the vision, while she was schmoozing with the potential home buyers, occasionally the right side of her auric neck would grow like this, and that was, that energy that she was hiding. She couldn't say anything from the heart and from the throat chakra, and but that energy had to go somewhere. So she would go through these cycles of everything's fine, and then she'd start processing that frustration, the stress, the tension, the anger, the tiredness, etc., and then the auric neck would bulge out. So I stayed with this for quite a while, and then the goiter, the auric goiter that hadn't yet manifested in the physical body, now I brought in, I wasn't seeing that anymore, but now what I was seeing was the auric anatomy of the neck muscles really clearly. Of course, neck and shoulder. And I was seeing the deltoid muscle, all right, in the shoulder, and then the trapezius muscle that goes up through the neck on the right side. And then I was seeing all of these really clear auric neck muscles. You had the muscles that connect the sternum with the clavicle, which goes up to the temporal bone, the bottom of the temporal bone, which protects the temporal lobe of the brain, and also surrounds the ear, the whole ear apparatus. And then you have the other muscle that connects the rib cage, the upper rib cage, to the cervical vertebrae in the back. All of this, of course, gives you that range of motion of neck turning, et cetera, et cetera. And all of these muscles were talking to me. They were they were just screaming. I was seeing the actual, times that she was having these frustrating moments with the potential home buyers, and that all that energy would go to these different muscles. And of course, you have the muscle also that lifts the scapula, the shoulder blade in there as well. So all these, and there's other muscles in there I was seeing, but their names are way too complicated to convey here. But those are the main areas that I was witnessing. And so I stayed with that for a long time, trying to diffuse and dissolve all of those. Probably not all, but maybe the most recent, frustrating, tense, stressful interaction she's had. Maybe it went back a few weeks, but what started to happen then was really interesting. Now, the shoulder wasn't talking to me, and the neck wasn't talking to me at all anymore, and we went back down into the body, and now I saw just this sort of this field, this energy field in the whole auric first layer of the aura, the whole auric, and it was really dry, and there just was this bubbling kind of tension, this whole field of dry kind of, tension in the whole auric body. So this was the precursor. This is, the body gets tense, and then the body can't take the that field, that tension, dry, heated field anymore, and then it goes to smaller and smaller areas of the body, because the whole body can't take it anymore, and now it starts messing with very specific areas of the body. In this case, for this particular woman, it's the neck, and the right neck, and the shoulder blade. So this, and the shoulder. So this was really interesting, and finally, I wanted to keep going to hopefully get her back to a place where she wasn't experiencing any kind of frustration, stress, tension, annoyance with the home buyers, and was back to her, open-hearted, authentic, really caring about the home buyer and their world. And this goes for any kind of time you're dealing with people, the public, and all these jobs, salespeople, retail, anyone working on a commission. They may have different parts of their body that are holding that frustration, because again, if they're smart, they keep their mouth shut, they keep the front of their throat chakra shut, and the customer's always right. So, but in this particular case, this is where this particular realtor held all that energy. Now, one other dimension, when I finally got her back, I was sort of watching these visions of her interacting with the home buyers, really sweet and really authentic from the heart. And she, at this point, she wasn't really expressing any of that neck, shoulder, energy. So finally, it was really, really interesting. Staying with this a little bit longer, all of a sudden, I saw her playing tennis at a younger age. She looked like she was maybe 19 in this vision, and she was crouched over, ready to watching the ball, as their opponent is about to hit it. And it was so interesting because all of her first layer chakras, maybe not all of them, but definitely the third eye, the throat, the heart, and the solar plexus were watching. Those chakras were like so connected to the moment. Again, this is the first layer, so they were really, really close to the body, but they were like, mini satellite dishes, teeny little satellite dishes, the chakras, as like telepathically. She was so open, so connected to the moment, so in the moment, that she could telegraph. She can, she was processing all of that, almost telepathically reading her opponent's mind. Full body. It's like, how's the opponent's body moving aurically, and her first layer chakras going up. We're just really capturing all of that information, and getting ready. She was ready for that shot. So, and I asked her at the end of the healing, did she ever play tennis? She said, yeah, she was part of a college tennis team. And in fact, she was thinking to herself, and she said that in fact she had a shoulder neck sprain, bad one, while she was playing tennis for the team, that put her out of commission for a while. Now that might not be the real original, source of. Sometimes what happens is you get injured in a certain area, and that becomes the weakest link in your auric anatomy, so to speak. It could go back past lifetimes too. Like, you may come into this lifetime with certain weaknesses, weakest links in the chain. And you have the same exact accident as somebody else. They get injured somewhere else, or not injured at all, or really injured, in certain areas. And for whatever reason, you keep injuring, your neck and shoulder on the right side. So this tennis sprain, back when she was 19, it made that area weak. So now when she has these frustrating interactions with home buyers, that's where, the darker energy goes, so to speak. So, all right.